disappointing to concede such a sloppy goal so late on, an avoidable goal.
Yeah, there was a question of offside about the first ball in, but for me, you've got to be picking up and tracking your runners. And Guendouzi and El Neni, I don't think they've got their men there on the edge of the box properly, and it's disappointing. Leno will be gutted that his debut has ended conceding 2 goals when Arsenal have been so on top in this game.
Right, well, David, thank you very much for joining me. I believe you have to head back downstairs now.
I've got to run now, so yeah, bye everyone.
To talk to Antoine and, of course, Sharky downstairs. Instead, we're going to be joined by Arsenal.com's news editor, Rob Kelly. Rob, if you want to slide across here. So Rob's been working on analysis throughout the whole game. Rob, what are the few points that you've picked out on today? It's a good start, live TV. In fact, I'll tell you what, let's give you this one here. So yeah, Rob's been working on a few analysis points which will sit in our match report on Arsenal.com. Rob, what are the key things that you've been looking at?
Well, the 2 people that I was really impressed with were Henrik Mkhitaryan and Alex Iwobi. I thought they were outstanding. Aubameyang, the point I felt really with Aubameyang was after the Chelsea game, Unai Emery said that he felt that Aubameyang was perhaps suffering from a confidence issue, and I wonder if that was the reason he included him in this game, just to sort of build up his confidence. If that was the case, and it certainly worked, 2 goals, he really should have got an assist as well for Danny Welbeck. And I thought he was very good, but yeah, for me, the 2 were Iwobi and actually Socrates as well was very good along with Mkhitaryan. Yeah,
I know that we picked out a lot of Rob Holding's play during the commentary, but Socrates, every time he was called upon, he'd make those big sliding challenges, and I know that, like we were, you were surprised at his recovery pace as well.
Why do you say that? I've never doubted his pace. Don't try and throw me under the bus. Yeah, I think I actually think he's got better and better as things have gone on. I think, you know, he's working on a very strict fitness regime here, and it's paying dividends. I think he looked very, very good actually at Newcastle at the weekend. And I think today he looked really good. He makes those big eye-catching tackles, doesn't he? And one of them in the first half, he did it, and he stood up and he gave a big punch to the air as well. So that was a nice eye-catching one, a real passion merchant there.
Yeah, well, he's a bit of a no-nonsense defender, a passion merchant, if you will. Another player who caught my eye, and it was good to see him get on the score sheet. Obviously, Danny Welbeck, who went away with England, scored for England, and had a goal incorrectly disallowed as well. But yeah, he's come back and he's looked full of confidence, full of promise every time he's gone forward. Just what sort of role do you feel he's got to play this season?
Well, I thought actually when Emery came in, I thought that Danny Welbeck would be a player that he likes. You know, Danny Welbeck's perfect for a high press, isn't he? He's full of energy. He'll also track back a lot. He's exactly the sort of hard-working guy. Let's face it, he's not going to play through the middle very often, is he? You've got Aubameyang and Lacazette, but he'll do very well on the wings, either left or the right. And I thought he did well today. He showed a good bit of pace and lots of hard work too. Great.
Well, thank you very much, Rob, for your insight. We're going to head back to the Arsenal Nation Live studio now. So thank you very much for joining us and our audio commentary here. We hope to see you next time.
So 4-2 to the Arsenal. Sharky was lost, so close. So close with that prediction. We were hoping for you to get that 4-0. I was going to ask you to pick my lottery numbers, but you weren't correct. But score 4 goals for Arsenal is still pretty good. So when we're looking at this Arsenal team, we saw a lot of fringe players lay a claim to a starting 11 for maybe in the Premiership. David, which fringe player do you think really stood out for you?
For me, we spoke about him before the game, didn't we, Sharky, and said that he comes up with the goods in these games, especially when he's not been playing well, and it's Alex Iwobi again. For me, he was on the ball more than any of our forward players. I think up until the point he got taken off, it was like 48, 49 touches on the ball. He was always available. He didn't have the greatest passing accuracy, but I think that's because he was trying to make things happen. And as we saw at half-time with our graphics, our attacking graphics, it was all down the left-hand side. He had a lot of space down there, and he was working well with the experience of Monreal behind him, just giving him the ball. We saw 3 players go close from that side, Mkhitaryan, Aubameyang, and Alex Iwobi. And I just think he stood out for me tonight. I think the manager took him off so that he could get a little bit of a standing ovation, and to say to him, do you know what, you could be involved Sunday, son, you've worked hard today.
So yeah, a great confident boost for Alex Iwobi. In terms of, from the fans' perspective, Sharky, who else impressed you today?
Aside from Alex Iwobi, because he was obviously clearly our best player tonight, I like Lichtsteiner. Like, he looked experienced, he showed how experienced he is, got a really nice assist as well, keeper was rushing out, managed to chip it over the keeper to Ozil. And I like him. I think he's got a strong claim to sometimes switch with Hector Bellerin when we need his type of play rather than Bellerin's type of play. So I think he showed how much of a professional he is today.
Of course, today we did have a new look midfield of El Neni, Torreira and Mkhitaryan. How well do you think the three of them worked together, David?
I think it was, first of all, it was great to see Mkhitaryan get a full game, you know, because the players need that. I thought Torreira was good. I thought he got clipped a few times in that first half, though, and you know, he looked like he was carrying a little knock from early on, which I think took maybe the edge off his game a little bit, and the manager did the right thing, protecting him and taking him off the pitch. But I thought, you know, Mkhitaryan's speed and ingenuity on the turn, it created the goal by reading that interception. Exactly. And then the speed to go directly at the players and the pass he picked out for Danny Welbeck, and that really opened the game up, that first goal from Aubameyang. I thought it was a great finish back across the keeper. So I think, he was influential, Mkhitaryan, at times. Although he drifted in and out of the game, he wasn't our greatest player. I thought Rob Holding was solid at the back today. He looked like a giant of a man. He looked like a 6'5" player, and that he showed great maturity out there, I thought, tonight. And
one of our Fringe players is about to do a quick interview, so we're going to throw it to Danny Welbeck, who's going to tell us about his experience during the game.
Yeah, it was convincing. Obviously, they had their game plan set out, and it was difficult for us to, break it down in the first half. But we knew if he was patient and kept on trying to impose our style of play, that we'd get the opportunities to score. And yeah, we got the goals, but I think we're a bit disappointed with conceding as well. We wanted to make sure that we didn't concede any goals.
Going forward, things really seem to be clicking, particularly at the start of that second half.
Yeah, obviously we've been training all week and trying to get the styles and combinations of play, into the game, and some of that shown in the second half, and hopefully that can continue and keep on improving on that.
What's it like to play in this front line here with the likes of Aubameyang, Iwobi, Mesut Ozil?
Yeah, it's great. We've got great competition in that forward line, and that's healthy for the squad. It gives the manager a good decision, a good headache. And that's something that all the players want to get on the pitch. They want to try and give it their best, and give the manager an headache.
And just finally, another goal for you. That's 2 in a row at Emirates Stadium now.
Yeah, I'm pleased to get the goal, but more importantly, we got the win. So, yeah, hopefully everyone keeps scoring more goals and winning games.
So thanks, Danny. Of course, like you said, more importantly, we got the win. I think it was that second half high press that really did change the game. To you, David, in terms of that high press, what do you think Emery said at half-time that got the players changing their tactic when they came out for that second half?
I think that the first half, that Vorskla shrunk back into such a defensive unit, they became so hard to break down. Mm-hmm. So I think what he said is that if they're going to be in there, and we're going to have to win the ball off them while they're in their own defensive third, and we're going to have to go back to the high press, because I think at the start of the game, Arsenal was expecting to get a high press on them, but that didn't happen. They straight away retreated, the Ukrainians, so that gave Arsenal a bit of a headache. It was like, oh, how do we break them down? And I think it took a while, and probably that half-time team talk, the manager said, look, just go in there, go after them, and you'll get your goal much earlier. And they did second half, and from then on, it was all Arsenal. Disappointing to get the 2 goals conceded, though, for Leno. Yeah. I think he really, with only 4 shots on target the whole game, he'd be disappointed that 2 of them ended up in the back of the net, but they were exceptional finishes, both goals.
So then in terms of goal scoring, a lot of fans, or some fans, were on the back of Aubameyang before today's game, saying that he needs to start scoring more. But of course, today, he's really been on fire. So from a fan's perspective, Shaki, what do you think we can expect for Aubameyang going forward? Is today going to be a real big confidence boost for him?
I hope so, because he joined in January, and that half of the season, he got loads of goals. So we know he could score goals, just hadn't had enough this season so far. But I called it. I said we're going to score 4 goals today. I might not get the final score right, but I called it. So going back to the Emery half-time team talk, I think what he did was he turned on the TV and then he watched the Arsenal Nation live stream and thought, let's get him 4 goals for Sharky. And then they got it. But it was 4-0 at one point. It was 4-0 at one point.
Sharky was on point up until the last 10 minutes. So we just had a tweet which basically read about that Aubameyang-Mickey partnership. Yeah. If we could find the way to utilise that, how deadly could Arsenal's attack be?
They were very deadly together at Dortmund for a bit. They did really well together. Mkhitaryan obviously we know Ozil's that more of that assist kind of guy, but Mkhitaryan at Dortmund was really good, showed bits at Man United, and Aubameyang is a goal scorer. So if we can get some sort of system where they play together and we can get some sort of like run of games together, then you never know what could happen. You never know.
So we had a tweet where someone said that it would be the 150th game for Unai Emery and we still wouldn't have seen a clean sheet for Arsenal. Of course, the tweet is on your screen. It's such an overreaction tweet that we love to throw in, but we have to say that, of course, going forward, is today a reflection of a fear we should have in Arsenal fans, or was it simply a team switching off, knowing that they were 4-0 up? To you, David.
Yeah, I think it's probably a team switching off just at critical points because Vorskla wasn't really offensively adept for the whole game. And it was going to be an Arsenal error. And for that, just that last one, you know, they broke down the left-hand side. There's a chance in my mind that the winger was offside anyway. But they played well. The ball got cut back, and on the edge of the box, you got one defensive midfielder recovering, which was, I think, was El Neni. And Guendouzi had already tracked back and was in a position and just didn't react quick enough. And so you can say it was just a little error, a little slip-up. But that will grate on the fans. But at the end of the day, I must say, since Unai's come, and yes, there's been defensive errors and we've not kept a clean sheet, but it's some exciting football. Yeah. You've got to say it's exciting football. And when you talk about Oba, right? You talk about Oba saying you want him to get more goals. He's been involved in 11 goals in the last 10 games. He's scored 8 and got 3 assists. That's a decent return. That's a decent return.
Say like that?
And that's from someone but that's from someone who we think is playing ordinary at the moment. Yeah. We're saying, do you know what? He's only playing ordinary and look what he's doing. Imagine if he starts playing really well. I think, you know, he's going about his business nice and quietly, and he don't sing from the rooftops about it. But when he adds a little bit more to it, it's going to be dangerous.
We're going to see,
So, Sharky, if you were to plead to the Arsenal fandom in terms of the way that they're maybe overreacting with letting in a couple of goals, what would you say to them in terms of what's going to happen in the future?
Well, if we could, look, at the end of the day, whoever scores more goals wins the game. That's the basic rules of football. Whoever scores more wins. So obviously we want to have a solid defence. We want to not concede goals. But I do think we will sort it out. We'll fix the issues. But as long as we keep winning, I'm happy. The Arsenal fans are happy. Everyone's happy. That's 4 games on the trot now. Wins. We're all happy. Let's just try and sort out the defence, please.
So I know Sharky is very hungry since he's on this hunger strike. But I need one word from both of you to sum up today's game. I know your expert analysis from David and your fandom reaction from Sharky. So I'm going to let David, you go first.
One word.
One word. Only one word.
Developing.
Developing. I like that. It's the kind of word you get from a teacher on your report card. And Sharky, what is your one word before you go and grab yourself some food when you get home?
Hungry.
You think the players are hungry or are you hungry?
Both.
Both. That's what we want to hear. We want to see a hungry Arsenal squad, hungry for success, and hungry to keep entertaining you. So thank you for watching Arsenal Nation Live. Of course, we'll be back for the next game, the next game, the next game after that. Hopefully you'll keep joining us. And once again, come on Arsenal.
Let's go.
We'll see you again for the next game.